Listen closely, friends. These forgotten songs from 1972 shaped our world in ways most people never realized. The stories behind them will surprise you. The Moody Blues' path to creating Nights in White Satin was marked by internal conflicts and financial desperation.
Nights in White Satin.
The band was nearly bankrupt in 1967 when they began experimenting with orchestral rock. Their record label thought they were committing career suicide by abandoning their R&B roots for this new sound. Initially released in 1967, the song flopped. Its 1972 re-release became a hit after being embraced by progressive rock stations. The song's length, over 7 minutes, made many program directors reluctant to play it. The band refused to create a shorter version, leading to heated battles with their label. The lyrics were inspired by Justin Hayward's divorce, though he publicly denied this for years to avoid personal scrutiny. The late lament poem at the end was nearly cut from the final version.
Breathe deep, the gathering gloom.
The record company thought it was too pretentious, but the band threatened to withdraw the entire album if it was removed. Elton John's journey to creating Rocket Man involved more struggle than most fans realize.
On such a timeless flight.
Bernie Taupin wrote the lyrics while driving to his parents' house, pulling over multiple times to scribble down ideas. The record company initially rejected the song, believing space-themed music was passé after David Bowie's Space Oddity. The song's connection to the space program caused unexpected controversy. NASA officials were concerned about the line, "high as a kite," believing it promoted drug use, and some radio stations actually edited out this line. The recording sessions were particularly tense, with producer Gus Dudgeon demanding over 30 takes of the iconic chorus. During the recording, Elton was battling severe stage fright and anxiety, often throwing up before performances. The song's themes of isolation and loneliness reflected his own struggles with fame and identity, though this wasn't revealed until decades later. The Stylistics formed in Philadelphia in 1968, merging two defunct doo-wop groups. Their story intersects with a controversial period in American music, when record companies were actively segregating their marketing departments into R&B and pop divisions, often based purely on the artist's race rather than their musical style. I'm Stone in Love with You showcased Russell Tompkins Jr.'s remarkable falsetto,
Overnight sensation.
but few people know the song was initially rejected by the band. Producer Tom Bell had to convince them to record it, leading to heated arguments in the studio. The tension was heightened by the fact that several band members couldn't read music, creating a power dynamic that favored the musically trained producers over the naturally gifted vocalist. During recording sessions, Tompkins Jr. was battling severe laryngitis. Rather than delay the recording, producers forced him to sing through the illness, resulting in the uniquely raspy quality in certain phrases. This decision permanently affected his vocal cords. Hey friends, your memories of these songs matter. They're part of our shared history. Hit that like button if you remember where you were when you first heard these tracks, and subscribe to keep these stories alive. Share your memories in the comments below. Seals and Crofts met as teenage musicians in Texas, but their connection to the controversial Baha'i faith often overshadowed their music. Radio stations in several southern states initially refused to play their music due to their religious beliefs, considering them too exotic for mainstream audiences. Summer Breeze almost didn't make it onto the album. The record company wanted to shelve it, believing the imagery was too pastoral for the turbulent times of 1972. But the duo fought back, even offering to buy back the rights to the songs.
See the curtains hanging in the window.
The lyrics actually contained subtle references to Baha'i teachings, which went unnoticed by both the record company and most listeners. The iconic instrumental introduction was created by accident when Jim Seal's guitar string broke during recording. He continued playing with a broken string, creating the distinctive buzzing sound that became a crucial part of the final mix. Johnny Nash began his career as a pop singer in the 1950s, but his biggest contribution to music history remains largely unacknowledged. Nash was among the first non-Jamaican artists to record reggae music, and he helped introduce Bob Marley to American audiences. However, his role in popularizing reggae was often downplayed due to racial tensions in the music industry. I Can See Clearly Now was written while Nash was recovering from cataract surgery.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone.
The song's optimistic lyrics contrasted sharply with the era's turbulent social climate, leading some critics to accuse Nash of being out of touch with the times. What many don't know is that the song was actually a subtle commentary on the civil rights movement, with the rain representing societal oppression. The song was recorded in London with members of Bob Marley's backing band, but their contributions were initially uncredited. Nash fought with his record label to have them properly acknowledged, risking his own contract in the process. Rick Nelson's Garden Party emerged from one of the most controversial moments in rock history.
Went to a garden party to reminisce with my old friend.
The former teen idol was booed off the stage at Madison Square Garden in 1971 for playing new material instead of his old hits. The audience expected the clean-cut character from The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, but Nelson had evolved both musically and personally. The song's lyrics tell the story of that night, but they hide a deeper truth about the changing music industry. Nelson was struggling with addiction during this period, and the record company was pressuring him to maintain his wholesome image despite his personal demons. The line, "You can't please everyone, so you've got to please yourself," was actually a direct response to his record label's demands. During the recording of Garden Party, Nelson used Elvis Presley's former backing band, the TCB Band. Elvis reportedly heard the song and felt it was partially about him, as he had faced similar criticism for changing his style. The Raspberries formed in Cleveland in 1970, bringing together members from two rival local bands, The Choir and Cyrus Erie. The tension between these former competitors created an explosive dynamic that powered their music, but ultimately led to their downfall. Lead singer Eric Carmen's controlling behavior in the studio caused frequent arguments, especially regarding songwriting credits. Go All the Way shocked radio programmers with its sexually suggestive lyrics, leading to bans on several major stations. The band fought against the censorship, arguing that other artists were getting away with far more explicit content. Behind the scenes, the record company was actually encouraging the controversy, believing it would boost sales among rebellious teenagers. The band deliberately dressed in matching suits to appeal to younger audiences, but this clean-cut image conflicted with their suggestive lyrics. The contradiction created significant tension with their record label, who couldn't decide whether to market them to teenagers or young adults. We're preserving these memories together. If you've enjoyed these stories, take a moment to subscribe and share this video with friends who lived through this incredible era. Let's keep these memories alive in the comments below. Looking Glass began as a cover band at Rutgers University, playing fraternity parties to earn extra money. Their transformation into chart toppers was anything but smooth. The band's original name was Griffin, but they were forced to change it due to legal threats from another group. The name Looking Glass came from a drug-related inside joke that the band members took to their graves. Brandy, You're a Fine Girl was initially released as a B-side, considered unworthy of being the main single. The song only gained traction after a radio station in the Washington, D.C. area accidentally played it instead of the A-side. The maritime-themed lyrics were inspired by a real New Jersey waitress, but the band faced legal threats later when multiple women claimed to be the real Brandy. The whistle sound effect in the song's bridge was actually performed by the recording engineer's dog, who started howling during a take. The band liked it so much they kept it in the final mix, but they never credited the dog on the album. Brighter Side of Darkness emerged from Chicago's South Side, forming when members were just 12 and 13 years old. Their journey began in church choirs, but their path to fame was paved with controversy. Their manager, Ralph Capone Jr., was the nephew of notorious gangster Al Capone, and many questioned whether such young teens should be performing in Chicago's gritty club scene. The group's hit Love Jones reached number 16 on Billboard's Hot 100, but behind the scenes tensions were brewing. The lead singer, Daryl Lamont, was only 13 when he recorded the soul-stirring track. The record label pushed the group to maintain a grueling schedule of performances, leading to concerns about child labor laws and exploitation. Several band members' parents eventually pulled their children from the group, effectively ending their brief moment in the spotlight. In a bitter twist of irony, none of the group members ever received significant royalties from their hit song. The young teens were paid only a few $100s for their performances, while the record executives profited handsomely. The group's story became a cautionary tale about the dark side of the music industry's treatment of young artists. Edward Bear, contrary to what many assume, wasn't named after the original Winnie the Pooh character. This Canadian rock band formed in Toronto in 1969, taking their name from A. Milne's dedication in his book to Edward Bear. The band's lead singer, Larry Evoy, was actually a classically trained musician who rejected a scholarship to the Royal Conservatory of Music to pursue rock and roll. Their hit, Last Song, reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Did you know I'd go to sleep and leave the lights on?
But the success led to deep divisions within the band. The song's melancholic tone reflected real-life drama, as 2 members quit shortly after its release, feeling the band had strayed too far from their rock roots toward a more commercial sound. The remaining members struggled with substance abuse issues, which were largely ignored by the media at the time. The piano riff in Last Song was actually recorded at half speed, then played back at normal speed to create its distinctive sound. The technique was revolutionary for its time, but the band never revealed this secret until decades later, fearing critics would accuse them of cheating in the recording process. Friends, we've traveled back through time together, exploring these remarkable songs from 1972. Each track carries the weight of its era, the struggles, the triumphs, and the untold stories that shaped our generation. If these memories mean something to you, make sure you're subscribed to our channel, share your own stories in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video. We're preserving these precious moments of music history together, one song at a time. Until next time, keep those memories alive.